Have you ever felt it? A weight, not in your muscles, but in your soul. A pressure to stand a certain way, speak a certain way, to feel, or rather, not to feel, a certain way. It's a sensation as familiar to men as gravity, yet we rarely speak of it. We call it responsibility, duty, strength. But what if it's something else? What if it's the heaviest armor you will ever wear? An armor you were given at birth, polished through boyhood, and have been forced to maintain every day of your life. Today, we are not here to talk about strength. We are here to talk about the weight of the illusion of strength. We will embark on a philosophical journey to deconstruct this invisible armor. We will see where it came from, understand how it constricts us, and discover the terrifying, liberating truth of what it means to finally take it off. This is not a conversation about blame. It's a conversation about awakening. This is the story of the inner battle most men don't even know they're fighting. To begin, we must define our terms. This armor isn't metal or steel. It is forged from a far more resilient material, social expectation. Its primary function is not to protect you, but to make you predictable, controllable. It is the mandate of emotional stoicism, the idea that a real man represses his fear, his sadness, his doubt, and his pain. He is a rock, a pillar, an island. These are the metaphors we are given, and they all have one thing in common. They are lifeless. This armor dictates that your value is tied to your utility, your performance at work, your ability to provide, your capacity to endure hardship without complaint. It whispers that vulnerability is weakness, that asking for help is failure, that your inner world is irrelevant compared to your outer achievements. And the most insidious part, we are taught to love this armor, to see it as the very source of our identity and our honor. But an armor that prevents anything from getting in also prevents anything from getting out. It is not a fortress, it is a cage. So, where was this cage forged? Its origins are deep, woven into the very fabric of our history. For centuries, the role of the masculine was defined by harsh realities. The hunter, the soldier, the farmer. In these roles, emotional detachment was a survival mechanism. A soldier who grieved openly on the battlefield would endanger himself and his comrades. A farmer who despaired over a failed crop had to find the resolve to plant again. Society codified this survival trait into a moral virtue. The man who showed no emotion was not just practical, he was admirable. This is where we find the roots of our modern misunderstanding of Stoicism. We look to figures like Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, and we cherry-pick his wisdom to justify our emotional shutdown. We hear his words, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The modern interpretation reads this as, "Ignore your feelings, be a robot." But this is a profound perversion of his message. Aurelius was not advocating for the suppression of emotion, but for the mastery of one's response to it. To feel grief, but not be consumed by it. To feel fear, but not be paralyzed by it. True Stoicism is about acknowledging your inner state and then choosing a rational, virtuous action. It is an act of engagement, not denial. The Industrial Revolution poured molten steel onto this historical mold. Men moved from fields to factories, their bodies becoming cogs in a vast economic machine. The ideal worker was not creative or emotionally expressive. He was efficient, tireless, and interchangeable. He left his humanity at the factory gate. This economic utility became the new measure of a man. Your worth was your wage. Your identity was your job title. The armor was no longer for the battlefield. It was for the assembly line, the boardroom, the daily commute. It became the uniform of modern masculinity. This brings us to today, the 21st century. The battlefields and factories are gone for many, but the armor remains, heavier than ever. It is a ghost limb, a piece of outdated programming running on a new, complex operating system. How does this programming manifest now? It's in the grind culture that celebrates burnout as a badge of honor. It's the man who works 80 hours a week to provide for a family he never has the emotional bandwidth to actually connect with. It's in the unspoken rule that men cannot talk to each other about their fears, their insecurities, their quiet desperation. Instead, conversations are confined to safe, external territories: sports, politics, work, conquests, a series of status games. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer wrote that life is a business that does not cover the costs. He saw existence as fundamentally driven by a relentless, blind will, striving that is never satisfied and thus leads to suffering. The armor of modern masculinity is a futile attempt to deny this fundamental truth. It tells us that if we just achieve enough, earn enough, and posture enough, we can escape the suffering. But the armor only amplifies the pain. By denying our suffering, we prevent ourselves from ever processing it. The result is an epidemic of quiet desperation, a pervasive masculine loneliness that festers beneath the surface of stoic silence. We see it in the shocking statistics on male suicide. We see it in the rates of addiction used to numb the pain the armor won't allow us to speak of. It creates a profound paradox. The man in the armor is desperate for connection, yet his very defense mechanism makes authentic connection impossible. How can you be truly known by someone if you are hiding 90% of yourself? How can you build a relationship on the bedrock of truth if you are living a lie of effortless strength? The armor turns relationships into transactions. A partner is not someone to share your soul with, but a testament to your status. Children see a father who is a provider, a protector, but a stranger, a distant, benevolent authority figure whose inner life is a complete mystery. This is the true cost of the armor. It doesn't just imprison you, it exiles you from the warmth of genuine human intimacy. You become the lonely king in a castle, protected from everything and connected to nothing. So we arrive at the critical moment of our journey, the point of no return. We have seen the armor, we have felt its weight, we have traced its origins, we have counted its cost. What now? The path forward is not easy. It is, in fact, the most courageous act a modern man can undertake. It is the act of removal. The first step is a philosophical one. It is a revaluation of our most cherished values. We must deconstruct the belief that vulnerability is weakness. This is the central lie that holds the entire structure together. Vulnerability is not crying, it is not complaining, it is not weakness. Vulnerability is the courage to be seen as you are. It is the exposure of your authentic self to the possibility of rejection and the decision to do it anyway. It is the act of saying, I don't know. It is the honesty of saying, I am afraid. It is the humility of saying, I need help. These are not acts of failure. They are acts of profound strength. They are the choices that break the cycle. This brings us to another philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche. He would have despised this armor. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch or overman is not about a muscle-bound strongman. It is about a spiritual and intellectual giant. The Bermensch is one who has overcome the herd morality of his time. He does not accept the values given to him by society. He creates his own. To Nietzsche, the man in the armor is the ultimate member of the herd. He is weak because he is afraid to define himself. He allows society to do it for him. Nietzsche wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often and sometimes frightened, but no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. Owning yourself, that is the goal." Taking off the armor means consciously choosing your own values, not inheriting them. It means deciding that your worth is not defined by your salary or your job title, but by your character, your integrity, your capacity for love and connection. This is not an abstract exercise. It has a practical application. It starts with conscious conversations. Finding one or two other men with whom you can drop the pretense. This is terrifying. It requires you to be the first one to take the risk, to share something real about your struggles. But in doing so, you give the other person the permission to do the same. This is how true brotherhood is forged, not in shared conquests, but in shared vulnerability. It continues with self-reflection, the practice of journaling, of meditation, of simply sitting in silence and allowing your own thoughts and feelings to surface without judgment. To ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Not what should I be feeling? What am I feeling? To treat your inner world not as an enemy to be conquered, but as a landscape to be explored. And yes, it can mean seeking professional help. Seeing a therapist not as a sign of being broken, but as a commitment to being whole. Therapy, in this context, is applied philosophy. It is a dedicated space to examine your own operating system and rewrite the code that no longer serves you. This journey is a peeling of layers. The armor does not come off all at once with a triumphant clang. It comes off piece by piece, buckle by buckle. With each conscious choice to be authentic instead of performative. With every moment you choose connection over status. With every time you answer the question, "How are you?" with the truth, there will be resistance. The world is comfortable with the man in the armor. He is predictable. He doesn't cause trouble. When you start taking it off, some people won't understand. They may even mock you. They are the guardians of the old code. But others, others will feel a sense of relief. You will attract people who are drawn to your authenticity, not your performance. Your relationships will deepen. They will become real. You will begin to live a life that is aligned with your core, not with a script you were handed. We began with a question about a weight, a pressure, an armor. We have seen how it was forged in history, reinforced by economics, and maintained by a conspiracy of silence. We have seen that its purpose was never truly to protect you. Its purpose was to control you, to limit your potential for a full human experience. The armor promises you strength, but it delivers only isolation. It promises you honor, but it delivers only exhaustion. The armor was never to protect you. It was to prevent you from becoming you. The ultimate manipulation was convincing you that the cage was a castle, that the chains were ornaments, that the silence was strength. To remove it is to step into the terrifying, brilliant sunlight of uncertainty, to be human, to be vulnerable, to be free. It is to finally end the inner battle, not by winning, but by refusing to fight. It is to lay down your arms and, for the first time, to stand in your own peaceful, authentic, and unshakable power. The journey is long, and it is the work of a lifetime, but it is the only journey worth taking. So I leave you with a question, not for me, but for the quiet moment before you sleep tonight. What is one piece of your armor, ... Just one piece, that you can choose to set down tomorrow?